I'm a parent of 5 kids, and wow, do I have plenty of expenses. So the last thing I want is to pay for anything that isn't mandatory. Licensed insurance agent Danyel Dicicco from RBF Retirement Solutions and attorney Stacey Maloney are here to explain why I need to rethink how I'm spending my money and include life insurance and a will. Okay, I shuddered when I saw this topic because I'm so guilty, and I feel like I have so many friends as parents that are guilty of not looking at things we can't even consider because it sounds so horrific.
Yep. Yep.
Is this a common problem?
It is, and it's so unfortunate. I mean, how many times a day do we see a GoFundMe?
Yeah.
It's just not a responsible thing to do. And as a parent, especially a single parent, you have to be prepared for something to happen to yourself so somebody can take care of your child financially.
Yep.
You know, and we all want to put it off and put it off, but the fact of the matter is, none of us can predict. We see accidents every day, and life insurance is a way that your child will be able to be okay should something happen to you.
So how much is always the question that I have struggled with. Do I need to cover a mortgage? Do I need to, when you're trying to decide the amount? I mean, no one ever thinks it's too much when it comes to them, but like realistically.
It's all going to be very, very different for everybody else.
Right.
Okay. What are your bills? What are you trying to accomplish? How old are your children? Do they need to go to a secondary school after high school?
Yep.
You know, so those are the finances that you're going to look at, or we'd look at, because there is such thing as too much insurance.
Right.
Nobody, you know.
Why pay out more per month if you don't have to?
Exactly. Exactly.
Because you're already a parent, so you're already tight on money.
Right?
That's just part of the game, right?
Right.
Okay, so you would sit down and then kind of talk through the what do you want to provide for your kids in their future?
Correct.
Okay.
And then, more importantly, who is going to administer that should something happen to you? That's why I have my friend
here. And this
here,
is the part I'm still not ready to talk about. But so wills and trusts, what do they mean when we're talking about parents to children?
So in a will, you can designate the guardian should something happen to you. You can't do that in a trust.
Okay.
Okay. A trust, though, allows you to designate and control the distribution to your children and whom, how, when, time, instead of just outright, because every family's different, every needs are different.
Does this help, and I'll be honest, I'm not real familiar with this, but I know a lot of accounts and inheritances go to probate, which then takes a lot of money out of them and a lot of time. If designated legally properly, will that help solve that problem?
Absolutely. There are so many ways to designate your assets with forms, legal forms, held at different companies, institutions, to avoid probate.
That seems to be the #1 goal I have found that my friends who've had to experience some of this have dealt with. When we set up a will and a trust, what type of information do we need to be prepared to provide to you?
You need to be able to ask questions of yourself that you don't want to face, like you said.
I mean, I admit it. I have not done this in my own family for the main reason of until my children were older, I just couldn't answer these questions without wanting to throw up.
Yeah.
You know, it's scary.
I provide my clients beforehand with estate planning objectives and concerns, and it's just a bunch of questions that allows people to start thinking about their assets. What do they want? What are their wishes when they pass? Questions, children, dates of birth, where they live, do you like if they're married, do you like their spouses, you want to disinherit anyone?
Right. I mean important things.
These are questions that have to be asked. And then there's some other questions that are more serious, and some people just don't want to think about it, and they put it off and put it off. You know, your disposition wishes. Some of these questions are tough.
Yeah, no, they are, but I mean, I know if you don't answer them, then you're almost creating a bigger burden for your survivors afterwards.
You are.
Yeah, that's the guilt I feel since I haven't handled this well yet. When you're telling somebody or just trying to encourage all of us who are putting it off, what's the best reason to address this head on and stop shoving it under a drawer?
I think it's more morbid to make your loved ones have to deal with this after you pass, when they're already grieving. But I think to have a proper estate planning in place helps relieve them of that stress, because they have to face when you pass you're gone. They're already
They're
stressed
already
out.
upset. Yeah, no, and it's a reason to handle both. I mean, life insurance to be able to provide some financial stability should something happen to any of us as a parent. And then, you know, I have adult children. I know they're fully capable of managing all of this, but I would feel terrible making them.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And the life insurance, the other great thing about that is, should something happen, and you know, the funeral parlors will work with the life insurance. They actually help you with that, and that takes off a lot of the burden of when you're trying to do those final expenses. You're not having to come up with this large sum of money at the same time as well. It makes it much smoother that way.
It's just a
and it
better
doesn't-
process.
Yeah, and it doesn't go through probate. So.
Okay. Listen, these are things none of us want to think about. The whole thing makes me a little sick to my stomach, but the thought of leaving it and ignoring it is even worse. There are people to help you. For more information about anything finance related, including these tough topics, you can always get help by going to rbfretirementsolutions.com. We'll be right back.